This is how you turn $10,000 into 3.3 million with Stellar XLM. No, before anyone goes to surmise, this is not clickbait. This isn't me extending the truth. I'm going to show you exactly how it started with my exit strategy for 2025. And also, we can go ahead and export this to beyond as well. So I want to show you in detail, plus give you a few different examples like I haven't done before in this particular situation for XLM, okay? So let me now take your attention to the screen. Let's not waste any time at all and get into the nitty gritty of it all. So let me just begin here with showing you a few stats. Now, it's very important we understand exactly where things are going to be moving first and then getting into these sort of predictions and exit strategies, okay? So one thing we should always do before we start plotting how we're going to actually take our tokens out and at what prices and what percentages is we have to know the minimum and maximum. It's pretty simple to do this, okay? You do have to incur the risk of doing a price prediction, but of course we have to do multiple of these, as we'll see in a minute, as time progresses, okay? So right now we do have to basically project where we think the price will roughly go, and we can somewhat accurately do this with the vesting. Now, for those who don't know, the Stellar Development Foundation holds basically the rest of the tokens still to become enter into circulation rather, okay? So what we have to do is speculate that the last, okay, give or take 5 years or so, that we're going to have the same sort of expectations on average in terms of how much the token will be inflated, which is about 7.4%, again, since about 2018. So we can pretty much assume that we're going to have about 7.4% year-on-year inflation between now and 2025. And that's how I kind of came up with these minimum and maximum numbers, with the minimum being about a $20 billion market cap, and that puts the price at about 66 cents. On the max side of things, a $75 billion market cap, meaning the price maximum will go to $2.50. Again, current price right now is about 0.12 cents or 12 cents, right? And the market cap being about 3.3 billion. So if we were to extrapolate this into how much $10,000 worth of XLM will actually get you, right now it's 81,000 XLM tokens. And if we just do some simple maths, again, we're going to explore some alternative situations in a minute with this, but basically, it'll make $53,000 or a 5x at the minimum, and at the maximum side of things, if you were again to just sell all of it at one time, $2.50 would net you $203,000 or a 20x. Now, I believe these numbers are quite realistic. However, I do want to say that maximum number actually isn't the target I'm going for. As you can see over here, my strategy actually isn't even selling where I think the minimum will go to. I think we're going to go a little bit less than that. So I'm going to start ladder selling from 55 cents and get tighter and tighter and tighter up to a maximum of not $2.50, but a maximum of $2. Now, for those who are a bit confused, if you want to break this sheet down more, don't worry, I will give you all access to the board you can see on the screen now. And so my strategy basically is to start selling in increments of 15 cents, then 10 cents, then 0.75 cents, and then 0.05 cents, okay? So essentially 5 cents, right? So as we can see here, one thing we do have to recognize, and I'm not going to touch too much on this because I do this in basically all of these exit strategy videos, and if you don't understand percentages, you need to go ahead and observe this sheet, okay? Because a lot of people don't understand how percentages work, and the fact that, you know, if price goes down 75%, it has to go back up 300% to meet the same number it started from, okay? So it's very important you understand, but the reason why I want you guys to look at this is to go through the examples I create over here with person A and person B. Ideally, you want to be person B and mix this example with this example, aka you want to DCA and also ladder sell for the best possible returns. Yes, that's right. If you actually do this, you get the best possible outcome in the safest possible way. So here's what I'm doing, right? I'm buying when Bitcoin is down 7% plus on the weekly or the 7-day. XLM has any sort of FUD, or XLM is down 10%-ish. That's where I'm going to DCA. And as you can see in this example, if we buy, dollar cost average, and then we decide to, whatever the price does, begin to ladder sell on the way up, which is when, you know, narratives form, for example. In this case, obviously it's payments or a layer one narrative, or the overall market sentiment does go up, or your price targets have been met, we sell, and that actually does, in the example, give us the best possible returns. So here's the first example. Now, there is going to be two examples for a ladder sell exit strategy because unfortunately, this is extremely complicated for most people to do. Most people will be better off doing this example, which I'll touch on in just a second. So this one essentially is finding specific price points and then selling a percentage of your portfolio, your holdings of XLM at that specific level, okay? So for example, over here, XLM's price in 2018, okay, hit an all-time high of 74 cents at a $13 billion market cap. And we fast forward all the way to what it would be like hypothetically in 2025, we would have to actually have a market cap of $22.2 billion. So you can see it's a lot more difficult for XLM to reach the same numbers because we have more tokens in circulation. So to hit 74 cents again, it's got to almost double its market cap in size from back at its all-time high. Okay, so that gives you some indication as to why we can't kind of extrapolate some crazy numbers in this case. Now, again, what I'm doing here is going down to the 55-cent level. Okay, back then it was about $12.4 billion in the last bull run. In the next bull run, roughly be about $16.5 billion market cap, give or take, depending on when it happens. And that's where I'm taking my initial investment out. And then I'm coming up. So I'm using these increments right here, 15 cents right down to 5 cents, and I'm taking it out, right? So the first one, 20% out at 70 cents, and then another 15 cents up at 15%. And then I'm going up in about 10-cent increments, as you can see in these three circumstances over here, and then pretty much taking 15% out, 15%, and then 10% out. And then as you can see, as we do decide to come up here, it does get tighter, right? So we come down to 0.075 cents and then up to 5 cents. Okay, and it does get tighter and tighter, but what you can do is actually leave about 5 to 10% on the table, as you can see over here, for unexpected explosive potential. Now, this is the very, very important thing you all have to remember, okay? Because we can predict these things now, right? This chart goes up to about $2, and the reason why I haven't shown you, actually growing in hypothetically up to $2 is because I don't know if it will ever reach $2. It might only reach $1, okay? So what we're going to do is, as I mentioned down here, is actually revisit these numbers at specific times in the next bull run, okay? Specifically on the halving. The halving is going to be a very important date that for all of us to reanalyze these numbers. So I'll probably be bringing out more videos, or at least the same video on this, reanalyzing this data a lot more accurately and actually doing it a lot better, because ultimately we will have more information, because XLM's price at this point might already be 70 cents for all we know, okay? And then we can begin to realize what's actually happening here. The whole bear market, these projects have been building, and ultimately we really don't know how really explosive they actually will be. And then no less than 6 months later, in this case, I'm going to be doing it more or less about 10 months later, we're going to revisit this yet again at about February 1st, give or take. And then we're going to look at, okay, well, how things are actually traveling now before the bull run. I am expecting the bull run to probably close up around the 30th of October, 2025. So we'll, of course, revisit these numbers closer to that finish line, okay? But as I said, it is probably a smart idea to hold 5 to 10% of your portfolio at the very end, just in case there is a massive blow off top. And remember, these things do change depending on narratives, depending on specific news relating to the project itself. We just don't know, okay, guys? There could be some massive announcement that no one expects. That is when you can extract even more price. And of course, if you end up holding 5 to 10% of your portfolio and it crashes, I mean, that's fine. You're not holding like 50%, for example, okay? At least that's my opinion. And in this case, what I would recommend you guys do, again, closer to the bull run, is actually have these prices set at sell levels on whatever exchange you decide to use, okay? Because then you're pretty well guaranteeing yourself if the price hits those numbers, you're going to execute those orders, right? Now, here's a much more simple strategy for everyone to follow, which is the 25 rule. 25, 25, 25, 25. So same situation plays out at the 55-cent level. We pretty much take your initial investment out. Our $10,000 is gone. And then at strategic points, so as you can see here, I've got 3 25% levels. We are taking our portfolio out. Again, percentage of our entire portfolio. So 70 cent, 93 cent, and $1.17. Might be thinking to yourself, Kyron, why the hell are you talking about 93 cent and $1.17? Well, because in uncharted territory, we want to make sure we are selling before strategic price levels, because that is where we will find the most amount of sort of resistance, because it's a strategic number, it's a psychological number, and that's all markets are, people versus people, okay? So again, what we're doing here is holding another 25% or so for explosive potential. Now, in this case, you don't really have to. 25% might be a little bit too much. Again, the important thing is we've taken our initial 10,000 out and we have decided to ladder sell. So we have made quite a profit at this point. So, you might, for example, want to do another level of 10%, for example. Therefore, you hold on 15% at the explosive top, okay? But again, it is crucial you guys subscribe, because I will be doing this in a lot more depth once we actually are at these levels. Strategically, 1st of April, okay, the halving, and again, sometime about 6 to 10 to 12 months later. All right. So here's how you can actually turn $10,000 into 3.3 million. So I want to stress the important part of this video was what I just mentioned, having a ladder sell strategy, because as I mentioned at the very start of this video, this is how you're able to extract the most amount of profit in the safest way. Okay. So person B actually make 650% on their, returns versus someone who makes only a 6x, which is actually a big difference. Instead of trying to time when to sell, this person strategically sells, and that's what we're pretty much doing over here, okay? So moving back over here, this is an example I try to use a lot on the channel because a lot of people don't get it into their heads. They just don't believe it because it's just so crazy to think about. And that is simply buying 10,000 XLM today, as we already know, it's about 81,000 tokens. You can actually make a hell of a lot of money in 2030 and beyond, okay, because of compounding. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about here. And don't give me the whole, I don't want to wait till 2030 crap, because if you can't wait 7 years to make this much money, that's the problem right there. It's not the project, it's not anything else, it's you, okay? So in this case, again, at the same price, we buy $10,000 worth of XLM, we have 81,000 tokens. Now we fast forward to 2025 over here, right? Let's say the max it goes to is $2, but let's just say we get out at $1.50. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, we make $121,500. That's quite good. It's about a 13x. And that is life-changing. That is pretty good money, but it's nothing too crazy. At that point in time, it's like, you can't buy a new house, for example, right? Well, let's fast forward now to the 2028 bear market. And then let's just say we decide to save our 10,000 bucks. Let's just say we do that strategy and we have that 10,000 initial investment, but we decide to keep that initial investment out. That's like a guarantee. We're going to use it on things like, expenses and whatever it might either be, Maccas, whatever it might be, okay? And in this case, we reinvest the rest. And then if we took the $111,500 and reinvested that, keeping the $10,000 we had as our initial investment out as, for anything, right? Might be Maccas, whatever you want to do, fuel, insurance, your living expenses, basically. We reinvest that, we can buy a maximum of 223,000 XLM, again at 50 cents, which isn't a very unrealistic number to see in that point in time. And then we decide to sell everything in 2030, right? We have 223,000 tokens now that we do have versus 81,000, which is one of the reasons why I tell people hodling is not a good idea for the long term. It's better to compound. And let's just say the price goes to $20, but we sell at $15. Well, that's how we come to the magic $3.3 million level, right? So which is 3.3, which is 3,345,000. So you pretty much total of 43x, right? We 13x in this bull run coming up, and then we 30x in the following bull run, okay? And then it might go to $1.50 in 2033, and we just repeat this cycle until we just continue buying more tokens or reinvest into other assets and other equity markets, whatever it might be. But I hear what some of you say down below. Some of you guys say, Kyron, this is total baloney, man, because that's an unrealistic number. $2, $1.50 or $15, that's so crazy. Well, let me give you two examples here and show you just how explosive this really is with some more realistic numbers, you could say, okay? So the same situation plays out, except we end up selling out on an average of $1.20, okay? So we now have $97,200 rather than $121, therefore the multipliers are of course a lot less. And over here, instead of the max selling at $15, we sell at $12. Well, guys, if the same thing plays out, if we keep the $10,000 as well, so we're reinvesting $87,000, well, guess what? We still get almost $2.1 million, and we are still 34xing in total. It's crazy, but I hear what some of you are saying, Kyron, that's still not good enough. I'm still going to complain and whinge down below. Well, I got you covered. Look, $1 over here. Okay, so $1 gives us obviously $81,000. Quick maths, of course, 8x. If we come over here and do the same thing, right, we still save the $10,000, we reinvest $71,000 back into XLM and buy the max amount of tokens possible under this 50-cent category over here, or price rather, again, and we also minimize the returns in 2030 down from $15 originally down at $8 now. We're still ending up with $1.1 million, a 24x overall. So yes, I don't want to hear the whole that can't happen. I think these numbers over here are more than realistic, probably on the lower end of the spectrum, okay? So I want to make it very, very, very obvious to you guys, you can make lots of money even with a project like XLM because we're reinvesting back into the project, okay? And that's what you all need to understand. We are using 2025 as a catalyst, not the be-all and end-all, okay? You have to have a longer-term vision. And of course, a project like XLM, a utility-heavy Web 2-focused network, is only going to get even more exponential in the 2030 bull run plus. So that being said, guys, that is how it's done. I appreciate every single one of you watching and supporting the channel. And until next time, take care. Bye.